application is to get familiar with the MapReduce programming. Okay, how to parallelize your algorithm or problem. Okay, but I will show you several patterns how to analyze the data using MapReduce program in the classroom. Okay. Then the final output will be in the page 3. If you can see the page 3, there are 4 requirements for the final output. First one is writing up using the I33 format, 4 pages. I think it's a little bit long, but it's good for you to try to write such a paper. And source code data set. Then poster. Poster means eventually. So I will give the extra point. Those who are selected for the conference or journal paper. Okay. Also, I'd like to give the extra point. If your poster is eligible to submit the ASE or other research day, the opportunity to show everybody knows what is the faculty research day at UB and the ASE, the regional conference held in the spring semester. After this semester, if you are eligible, then you will get the extra point. So your output should be both the writing up as well as the PowerPoint. By then, I probably can the final exam if you are successful. All of these are individual projects. I did a group project before, but this time I decided to have an individual project. Okay. But I'm thinking in case in the middle of the process, like the after proposal, if not all students have the good proposal, at the time I can make the group by the 2, something like that. But initially it will be individual project. At least up to phase 3, it will be individual project. Then the project 2 is for the inverted index. I'm going to explain later. Okay? Any questions so far? It's too much, but it's good for you, believe me. Okay, so if you do not have a question, I'm not sure whether what's this? It's a matrix. Which one? First, second, third? It's the second, I think. Revolution. When Neo meet architect. So who is the architect? It's a creating matrix. So why don't you enjoy it?
Hello, Neo. Who are you? I am the architect. I created the matrix. I've been waiting for you.
What is a matrix?
You have
by the
many
way?
questions, and though the process
It's a
has
program.
evolved
It's a
your
computer
consciousness, you
program.
remain irrevocably human.
Pretending
There goes
real
some of my
world.
answers you will
Okay.
understand.
People inside the matrix, they don't
Concurrently,
hear.
while your
Their
first question
spirit
may be
is
the most
outside,
important,
so
you may or
it's
may not
connected
realize
to
it is
the
also
computer
the
programming.
most
They feel they are living, they are alive,
Who
but
am
it's
I?
actually computer programming.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the matrix.
Then
You
the
are the
architect
eventuality of an
program
anomaly,
everything,
despite my
even your
sincerest
feeling.
efforts, I have been unable
Like the
to
taste.
eliminate from what is
This
otherwise
is good, this is
harm
bad, or the
of
even
mathematical
law.
precision.
They make the program using
While it remains a
mathematical
burden
equations.
assiduously avoided,
Okay?
it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably. here.
You haven't answered my question.
Quite right. Interesting.
And everything is designed.
That was
Designed
quite
by the architect.
Others, how many?
So this is the
The Matrix
option
is older than we
cases
know.
that
I
may
prefer
be
counting
possible.
from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the sixth version.
It's the sixth version, actually. Destroy the first one, second, third, then finally sixth.
But no one told me. Or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
So using simple equation, fluctuation can be designed and modeled. Okay? I think of the virtual reality when you play the game. It's like the avatar pretend me. So it's the same thing. The Neo actually his body and spirit is outside the computer, the matrix, and connected his spirit only, but he lives in the real world. But
The
everything is
inevitability
the
of its
core.
doom is apparent to me now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent in every human being. Thus I redesigned it, based on your history.
So when they
to more accurately
fail
reflect the
something,
very
the
grotesque
differential
reason
equation,
nature.
they adjusted. So
However, I was again
the shut down
frustrated by
the
failure.
program and started again.
I have since come to understand that the answer eluded me because it required a lesser mind, or perhaps a mind less bound by the parameters of perfection.
Actually, the reason why they need a
Thus the answer
is
was
a
stumbled
machine
upon by
versus
another
the human being.
intuitive
Then machine
program,
win the game.
initially
Almost.
created to
However,
investigate
the
certain
machine
aspects
needs
of
the
human
human being
If
Why?
I am the father of the
Well,
Matrix,
energy, battery power.
would
So
undoubtedly
human
be
being
its mother.
can generate in this movie generate the power. So they need a human
As I
being.
was saying, she stumbled
So
upon a
they
solution
make the
whereby
program. Why?
99%
Because
of all
if the
subjects
people,
accepted
the
program's
human being
laws
just
without choice,
lie on,
even if
then
they were
try to
given
get,
the choice
so
at
they
a
don't do
conscious
anything.
level.
So using
While
the
this answer
program,
functioned, it was
make
obvious
something
that
travel or the
thus
real life,
creating
then
the
it can make the
elements
generate the
systemic
big,
anomaly
huge energy.
that if left unchecked might threaten the system itself. Ergo, those that refuse the program, while a minority, if unchecked, would constitute an escalating probability of disaster.
This is about Zion.
So
You
Zion
are
is
here
kind of
because
the
Zion is
system
about to be
for
destroyed.
the human being
It's every
side.
living
So
inhabitant turning
if
its
the
entire
matrix
existence
only
to
just
replicate.
perfect, no, it's not perfect.
Denial is
Because
not
of
predictable
perfection,
of human
it doesn't
success,
happen anything.
But rest assured,
So they need
will
something
be the
struggle,
sixth
the
time
fighting
we
each
have
other,
destroyed
the good thing and bad thing and human being. So
exceedingly
intentionally,
efficient.
they the matrix
After
create.
one
I
is
speak
now to return to the source,
the
allowing
twin
a
dividing,
temporary
the
dissemination of the
intentionally
code to
create the
carry
other
real
side.
prime
That's the
program.
oracle.
After which you will be required to select from the matrix 23 individuals, 16 female, 7 male, to rebuild Zion. Failure to comply with this process will result in a cataclysmic system crash, killing everyone connected to the matrix, which, coupled with the extermination of Zion, will ultimately result in the extinction of the entire human race.
You won't let it
So
happen.
failure of matrix
You need
can be
human
the
beings to
entire
survive.
human being who lie on outside of
Society
matrix
will
will be
to accept.
extinct maybe.
However, the relevant issue is whether or not you are ready to accept the responsibility for the death of every human being in this world.
But I was curious when I watched this movie. In case I build a matrix type
It is
program, is
interesting
it
reading
possible
your actions.
to design and
Your
model
5 predecessors
all
were
the
by
cases?
design
It's
based on a
kind
single
of the
predication, a
decision
contingent
problem.
affirmation
Every
that
time,
was meant
even
to
for
create
each
a
human being,
profound
when it's a
attachment to
group,
the
we
rest
need
of
to
your
decide
species,
something,
facilitating the function
right?
of one.
Whether I eat
While the
or
others
dislike.
experience
So
this
right
in a
now,
general
we
way,
are free
your
from
experience
decision.
is
Sometimes
far
I can
more
hit him
sensitive.
without any reason.
Vis-a-vis.
It's my decision. Can it be
Love.
modeled? Is it program or equation? Is it possible? Yes?
Apropos,
So,
she
I was
ended the matrix to
curious.
save your life
She's-
at the cost.
Is an architect using
No.
mathematical model,
Which brings us at
mathematical
last to a
equation.
moment of
However,
truth
I
where
don't
the
think that's
fundamental
easy.
flaw is
To, for
ultimately
example,
expressed and the
design,
anomaly revealed as both beginning
there will be
and end. There are 2 doors. The door to your right leads to the source and the salvation of Zion. The door to your left leads back to the matrix, to her, and to the end of your species.
so if Neo select the left hand side, which means to go back to the matrix, the entire
But we
human
already
being
know
will
what
be
you are going to do, don't
extinct.
we?
because he's going to have the Trinity
The chemical
because of
precursors that
his
signal
work,
the
the
onset
law.
of an
Then other
emotion
side is
are
the
specific to
stop the
overall
matrix
logic.
and restart it again.
Emotion
They
is
can
a
save at least the human being. But so far this time the
She
Neo
is
selected
going to die.
to human being. That's the design also expected. But this time is going to
Hope
the different
is the
decision.
quintessential human delusion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness.
If I were you, I would hope that we don't meet again.
We won't.
Okay. What do you feel? It's very tough to understand the Matrix, the plot of the Matrix the first time. So I watched it a couple of times, and also I searched the Google, what is the meaning of the Zion, what is the meaning of Oracle, then finally understand. Anyway, the main question I got when I watched the Matrix movie is, can I build a Matrix style the program? Because as the computer science professor or computer science student, can you?
Yes.
Yes. Really? Wow. How?
To master that, we can.
Mhm. We're gonna do what?
To master the skills, we can.
So what's your idea if you need to build a matrix? So architect use mathematical model. Even I think in the movie, architect successfully built model of law, right? You watch that. They probably model, but for the decision part, almost successful. But this time the Neo select decide other thing. But even that is a possibility of the matrix style the equation. But still, I doubt whether we can make the mathematical equation for love or all the different cases. So I actually when I watched the Matrix at the time, I don't think it's possible. But nowadays, there might be a little bit possibility to build such a matrix style the program. How? I found the clue from big data. Okay, so instead of the design and model the everything, that's a traditional way. Okay, traditional way of science. We build something hypothesis or the model something. Okay, for example, if we add the A element to the B element, it will be C. So it's my idea, it's my hypothesis. Then we try to prove. In the chemistry, we experiment. In the physics, we experiment. In the mathematics, we prove using the equation. So that's the way of the science. That's what we have done so far. Even that's the truth in the business. Or for example, in the business model. So if we have a customer who is around 20 years old age, and they are the female, they probably love our new product for the coffee, because those young ladies are interested in the fancy, nice coffee. So it's a model. Then we focus on the marketing using this model. Is it true always? What if they release the new product on the hot summer day, so 40 degrees, 100, over 100 degrees, 500, okay? Even though you have the target marketing, because you don't consider the other situation like the weather condition, it may not be good decision, right? So in big data era, using the big data, so we don't know what is the exact model. We don't have to design what is the law, what is the decision of the Neo, what's the decision of each one individual in the matrix. Instead, why don't we use such a big data? Then let it go, let it process. Then we will get something pattern or idea. Then at the time, temperature and the selling of the new product, like the coffee, may be related. So we can consider that one, for example. So that is the benefit of. That is called the data-driven approach. Data driven is, so using the data, using the big data, our decision making is changed. It's somebody said it's a paradigm change. So nowadays, do you know who is the CEO of the Alibaba? So Maui, Jack Ma, right? In English, the Chinese name is Maui, but anyway, Jack Ma. He said several months ago, next 4 decades, or at least 3 decades, will be data-driven era, which means everything will be based on the data. At that time, data means it's a big data. So it's not optional nowadays, really. It's a mandatory to use, to utilize. Even though you are in the business, you are in the education, you are in the government, you are in the any sector of the industry, farming. So there's no other way, better way from the big data and big data analysis. And also big data will be power later. It's capital. It's a money. Okay? So that's the actual problem of nowadays. If you are holding the data, then you have the power. Like for example, you know the carbon dioxide. So between the nation or among the nation worldwide, they try to sell the carbon dioxide, right? So the developed country restrict the developing country use the carbon dioxide. Like that, how much data you have, that will be the power of the nation, power of the individual, and that will be the money in the next few decades. So that is it. Then, if we can, this is too far. It's too future. It's too, even though it looks like the reasonable, but matrix side the program is ideal case. So, what about this one?
This is.
Did you watch the movie?
Yes.
It's Terminator 5 or 6. Anyway, newest, latest Terminator. What's the title of this movie? Terminator Genesis. What is the Genesis? You watched the movie? No. I think you did.
I watched
You watched. So what is the Genesis?
Skynet.
It's like it is
The artificial
program.
It's a operating system. Everybody knows what is operating system, which I'm teaching. So it's an operating system actually. And this operating system governs everything in the movie. Okay? So people may not realize at the time. So it controls everything, every data, politics, and the school educational system, and everything. Then if that is pro, then actually this Genesis operating system owned by the machine. The machine will take control the whole entire world. So this is a Genesis. This is a program. How can we build the Genesis? Probably Genesis had all the data. Then actually this movie is also 2034. I'm not sure if it's the future, right? Anyway, so this is nearer than the Matrix, but it's the future. What about the current, present? Is there any similar thing we have? Do you think what inspired Genesis? In our daily life. Why don't you think about the daily life? Is there any similar thing as Genesis? No?
Windows.
What about this one?
Windows.
Windows?
Windows.
How many of you guys are using Android? So then how many Google applications? Almost all. Right? So we have the web search and the portal and even document, everything. Google, whether or not sometimes you realize your personal information is loaded, transferred to the Google server. They keep all the data because data is the money. Data is everything. Data, and it doesn't matter whether it's important to your GIS information or the temperature or your age. So the piece by piece, there is no meaning, but when they collect all the data, it's a meaningful and valuable thing. So Google may be the future, the ancestor of Genesis or the Matrix. Then what is the value of such a Google? They have the huge amount of the data. So we will see why that's a scary thing in our life, okay? But anyway, we are not going to focus on the sociology or the psychological issue of such a big data. Instead, we will focus on the computer science. Okay, we already showed this one. Then, this is the computer I used the first time when I was 13 years old. It's almost 32 years ago. 32 years ago. At the time, my father, probably I mentioned in my previous class, my dad purchased me the Apple II computer at the time. It was very expensive. So it was almost several months' salary. So several months' salary. I don't know why still, my dad gave me such an expensive. But fortunately, I have such a computer. And similarly, at the time, the IBM XT was competitor of the Apple II computer. Can you see the storage size of the computer? It's a 20 megabyte. So it was huge. Why? Because even Apple II computer does not have a hard disk drive. You can keep all the data in the floppy disk drive. What about the nowadays? It's almost the same price range, right? Surprisingly. But you can see even this is not the hard disk, traditional hard disk drive, it's the solid disk drive, right? It's a 256 gigabyte and the memory is 8 gigabyte left, and this one, the MacBook Pro, is 8 gigabyte and half the terabyte storage, right? Which means data, even personal data, is a huge increase, right? Then it's just sometimes I feel that I need to keep all the data, but do not throw away. Who knows? Later it will be your money. Okay? It doesn't matter whether that is an image or a photo or the video or just a scratchy note. But why don't you keep it? That will be very. Email is the same thing. So what I'm thinking still right now is I try to keep the important email in my mail server, but if possible, why don't you keep it later when you die? When I die. So I'd like to make the program. So if I click the one button of the program, then it can automatically generate my entire biography and the autobiography. Oh, really? That may be possible. And if there is any related, even though you don't have to worry about the relation, like if you have the photo that you took in the vacation or for kids, and it can be connected. Then we will have the very fancy nice. Even Facebook is one of the examples. Facebook can every year, end of the year, you can, if you click one button, it can generate the summary of your yearly event, something like that. But anyway, so main difference is a bigger size of the data, right? How big is the number pyramid showed? So you know what is a kilobyte and 1 megabyte, so gigabyte. I still remember the 1996, so I purchased 1 megabyte hard disk drive, okay, and then I was very happy because it's much bigger than my previous hard disk drive. But nowadays, what is the size of your hard disk drive? 1 terabyte. How much is it? Even it's less than $100, right? So with the $100, if you go to the Amazon, you can buy the 2 or 3 4 terabyte even the hard disk drive. Then petabyte. What is a petabyte? It's 1,000 of the terabyte. So we can say that roughly, generally speaking, nowadays the enterprise level, the storage is a petabyte size. Okay. So for example, Oracle is one of the popular relational. I think those who are taking this course are familiar with the traditional database management system like the Oracle. Oracle can manage up to petabyte size level. But nowadays we have much bigger than petabyte size. So exabyte, zettabyte. Is there any other next? Probably, but I do not know. This is much bigger. How much big? Even still hard to imagine how big is that. Here's a slide that shows the diagram. You can see, you cannot see actually. There's no dot you can see over here. This is not high resolution, but there's a small dot that indicate the terabyte. Then this is a zettabyte. So nowadays, we are in the zettabyte size, zettabyte era. Okay. Then if we combine all, I don't think somebody already did like the sum of all the data size. They estimate. How can you estimate? That might be way. For example, one of the popular Google interview question is, so during the Google interview, they ask how many gas stations in United States? How can you answer?
By checking out the flight details. By checking out the citizenship details.
Citizenship? I mean the gas station. So how can you answer? How many gas stations? Some student answer Googling. Because it's in the Google interview. How can you? You can do the analytical, educational guessing. Analytical thinking. How? For example, what is the roughly the population in the United States? You can guess. 220 million, 250 million, something like that. Then how many of them can drive? Let's say the 16 to 70 or 60. So roughly that is half of them. Then how many cars for each? The one for each. Then how much drive? So how often do you go to the gas station? Then you can roughly guess. That's surprisingly 90. The error margin is plus minus 10%. Really. So similarly, we can guess the total size of there is a research group who are doing such a thing. For example, the IT company, they need such an estimation. It's like the EMC company, so that's the reason source of this one is the EMC company, and also IDC, or IDC is the IT research group, which is located in the Stanford. The headquarters is Stanford. They try to estimate such a thing. They said currently it's 8 zettabyte, but it will be over 40 zettabyte total. So it will grow exponentially. Okay, exponential growth is natural. At the population grows exponential. Linear is a very special case. Most of the time it's an exponential growth, so we can easily estimate such a data. Where data comes from? Some data size. So mostly the big data are ignited by the web pages in Google. How Google is working?
They will like index for all the web pages.
Index before indexing, what are they doing?
Storing all the data for the
Then what kind of data?
web pages.
So web pages, okay? So it's very critical. So Yahoo, Google, no matter what types of the search engine you use, they are collecting the all web pages. That is the basic and most important part. If you miss some of the pages, you may lose some information. So the first thing, collect all the web pages, okay? And keep updating, keep downloading. So because of that, they need something special project, which is called Apache Notch, the project in early 2000. So before 2000, the number of web pages are not that huge, so they can do. But how it works? You can just visit the one page. Then this web page has hyperlink. Then visit and copy. And this web page has the link and copy and visit. That is called the crawling. You can do the crawler, then copy. Then next you can, it's too big, too many, you can do the indexing. One of the naive way of such a document indexing is second project. Your second project. Your second project, project 2, will be such an indexing. Okay? So that's the reason I didn't explain. So that is called inverted index. Okay, so why don't you take a look at that inverted index? So instead of the directly index the data, you have the keyword, then list of the page ID. It's kind of inverted, inverse of the index. So we have such a huge web pages, so Google need something new technology. That is the starting of the Hadoop system. We will see the history of the Hadoop, and also we have a video, radiology, the images, medical images, and the scientific image data or the scientific data, and so many such the data are consequent. It's not only from the Google or the whatever. We got such a data from the science or the something, especially nowadays the sensor. Sensor is everywhere. So like the temperature sensor, something sensor, this sensor keep generating the data. Another types of the important types of the data is this smartphone or the personal device. Personal device. So even I need more space right now. So it keeps generating the what? Email and photo and also so Google keep asking, why don't you save your data in the cloud server? I'm not sure whether that's still good. I still scared to put my data on the cloud. Even though I'm not celebrity, nobody will take care, but I still doubt. But so they want to keep the customer data to them. This one is very important because using the cell phone, everybody can understand about my personality, right? Don't even think about to have my phone. Anyway, so another that's the traditional type of data. Also, server, computer. Computer keep generating the log data. Okay, history is a transaction log, the system failure log, whatever the log data. Log data are very important because our nowadays the activity, economic activity, academic activity will be based on the connection, internet, which means we need a server, we need a computer. Then computer knows all activity. That activity will be logged. That log data is also another type of the big data. Okay, so as an introduction of the big data, so I'm going to explain. I'm trying to my best to discuss all these topics, but if not, we will continue the next class. What can you say? Okay. So, for one more minute. So, what is a big data? This is a big data. What is this? Is a big data? We will see what. Okay. So, we are saying that this is a big data era. Big data. Why? Because in 1970, so mainframe. What is a mainframe? So IBM that you are wearing. So IBM mainframe the machine. It's a centralized server, and it's very very expensive. And at that time the network is not important. When I joined when I got the first job, I was trained by using the mainframe. So